You just bought something you didn't need. Maybe 10 minutes ago. Maybe this morning. You know exactly what it is. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a small voice is already building the justification. That voice isn't you making a decision. That voice is your brain covering its own tracks. And it does this constantly, in ways so smooth you barely notice them anymore. Money feels like math. Numbers in, numbers out. But almost nothing about how you actually use money is mathematical. It's psychological. And once you see the patterns, you can't unsee them in your own life. Here are 6 things you do with money every single week, without ever realizing why. The first one is the fastest, easiest purchase you'll ever make. The impulse buy. You're scrolling, you're bored, you see something, and 30 seconds later, it's in your cart. This isn't weakness. Psychologist Shiv at Stanford ran a series of experiments showing that when people are mentally distracted or emotionally drained, their impulse control drops sharply and their spending on immediate rewards rises. Your willpower is a limited resource. By the time you're scrolling at 11 at night after a long day, that resource is already running low. The purchase feels spontaneous. It's actually predictable. Companies know this. That's why so many checkouts happen late at night, on tired thumbs, on drained brains. Notice something. You rarely regret the impulse buy in the moment. The regret shows up later. Why the delay? That brings you to the second pattern, mental accounting. You treat money differently depending on where it came from, even though a dollar is a dollar no matter which pocket it sits in. Economist Richard Thaler, who won a Nobel Prize for exactly this kind of research, called it mental accounting. Money from a bonus feels like fun money. Money from your regular paycheck feels like serious money. $100 won gambling gets spent fast and carelessly. $100 earned through overtime gets treated with caution. Same amount, same buying power, completely different emotional label. Your brain doesn't see money as fungible. It sees money as a story, and every dollar carries the story of where it came from. This is why a tax refund disappears so fast, while the same amount sitting in a savings account feels untouchable. It never felt like your money to begin with. It felt like a gift from nowhere, so it gets spent like one. The third pattern hides inside every subscription you own. The subscription trap. You signed up for a free trial. You forgot to cancel. Now it's been running for 8 months. This isn't laziness, not exactly. It's something researchers call the endowment effect. First documented by economist Richard Thaler and later expanded by Kahneman, where people assign more value to something the moment they possess it, even briefly. Once a service feels like it's already yours, canceling it feels like losing something, even if you barely use it. The subscription business model isn't built on convincing you to buy. It's built on convincing you, quietly, that you already own it. So quitting feels like a loss instead of a save. Add up every subscription sitting in your accounts right now. Most people are stunned by the number. Not because they don't know the subscriptions exist, because they never added them together. Here's the fourth pattern, and it explains why sales work on you even when you know they're a trick. Anchoring. You see a jacket marked down from $200 to $80. That $80 suddenly feels like a steal, a genuine bargain, money saved. But you never needed the jacket in the first place. The $200 number did one job. It set an anchor in your mind. Every price after that gets compared to the anchor, not to what the item is actually worth to you. Retailers don't discount items because they suddenly feel generous. They discount items because the first number they show you rewires how every following number feels. You can test this on yourself. Next time something is on sale, ask a different question. Not, how much am I saving? Ask, would I pay this price if there had never been a higher one? The answer is often no. The fifth pattern is quieter, and it happens every time you check your bank balance. The comparison spiral. You look at your account and it's not really the number you're reacting to. It's the number compared to someone else's. A coworker's salary, a friend's vacation photos, a stranger's new car parked outside a coffee shop. Economist Robert Frank has spent years studying how financial satisfaction depends far more on relative position than on absolute income. People given a raise often feel worse, not better, if they learn a colleague received a bigger one. Your income didn't get smaller. Your comparison target got bigger. And your brain treats that gap as a genuine problem, even when nothing in your actual life has changed. Social media didn't invent this comparison spiral. It just gave it thousands of new targets a day. Every scroll is a fresh chance for your brain to measure you against someone whose circumstances you know almost nothing about. The sixth pattern might be the strangest one, because it makes no financial sense at all, and yet almost everyone does it. Present bias. Given the choice between a smaller reward now and a larger reward later, most people take the smaller one now, even when the math clearly favors waiting. Behavioral economists George Ainsley and later Shane Frederick have documented this pattern across decades of research, showing that the value of future money gets discounted in the brain far more steeply than logic would suggest. $1 today feels enormously more real than $1 next year, even a much bigger dollar next year. This is the same mental shortcut behind skipped retirement contributions, unpaid credit card balances, and gym memberships bought with great intentions and used twice. It isn't that people don't understand compound interest, or the cost of debt, or the value of saving early. Most people understand the math perfectly well. The problem was never information. The problem is that future you feels like a stranger, and it's very hard to sacrifice for a stranger, even one who happens to share your name. So look back at all six: the impulse buy, the mental accounting, the subscription trap, the anchoring effect, the comparison spiral, present bias. None of these are failures of intelligence. None of them mean you're bad with money. They mean you have a normal, functioning human brain, operating exactly the way decades of research says brains operate, in a financial world specifically engineered to exploit every one of these patterns. Here's what changes once you actually see it. You stop trying to out-willpower a system built by people who study your psychology for a living. Instead, you build small structural fixes around the patterns themselves. Automatic transfers before your brain gets a chance to mentally account for that money as fun money. A short waiting period before non-essential purchases so the impulse has time to fade before your card does. A recurring subscription audit, once a season, so the endowment effect doesn't get to quietly compound month after month. None of these fixes require more discipline. They just remove the exact moment where your ancient wiring takes over the wheel. You didn't need that thing you bought 10 minutes ago. You know that already. But now you know something more useful than guilt. You know exactly which pattern just ran, quietly in the background, doing precisely what it was built to do.